Hey kid.
The one I chose, a secret Jungkook finally revealed. In the glittering and never-sleeping world of K-pop, where every smile can mean 1,000 possibilities and every whisper can shake the internet, Jungkook, the golden magne, has just thrown a stone into a calm lake called Taehyung. It's not just a small wave. It's a storm. In a variety show that was initially filled with light laughter and teasing from fellow members, Jungkook, with a nervous laugh and eyes that don't know where to look, is faced with a question that has probably been haunting his heart for a long time. If you had to marry one BTS member, who would you choose? At first glance it sounds like a joke. But everyone knows from the look on his face this is not just a joke. After seconds of silence that felt like an eternity, he said softly, as if he was saying a secret that had been harbored for too long. Taehyung. The room erupted. Laughter. Screams. Disbelief. But amidst the chaos there was one thing that couldn't be missed, the way Jungkook looked at Taehyung. It wasn't a casual look. It was the look of someone who was holding their little world in one person. And Taehyung? He didn't say much. Just a small smile that was so calm, as if he had been waiting for that sentence his entire life. "I'm not surprised," he finally answered. Short, but thrilling. To the world it might have only been 2 sentences. But to the hearts that had long loved Taehyung's shadow, it was a confession that had only existed in fanfiction and video edits. Now it was real. Many said that their relationship was just fan service, that every glance, hug, and soft murmur was just part of the show. But what if we've been wrong all this time? What if those pieces were truths too fragile to be voiced? Remember when Jungkook rested his head on Taehyung's shoulder after practice? Or when Taehyung gently wiped the sweat off Jungkook's face, unaware that the camera was on? Or when they went on vacation together, sharing only a small piece of their world as if to say, "We're happy and that's enough"? Now, with one simple sentence, Jungkook seems to have pulled back the curtain on a world that until now could only be guessed at. One sentence that separates reality from imagination. In a follow-up interview when asked the reason behind his choice, Jungkook said, "Taehyung makes me feel safe. I don't have to be anyone when I'm with him. I'm just me." The sentence wasn't wrapped in metaphor. It wasn't made poetic. But that's where its beauty lies. Because true love doesn't need decoration. It just needs honesty. The fans' reaction? Like an unstoppable flood. The hashtag Taehyung is real burned on Twitter. Hashtag Jungkook chose Taehyung danced on global trends. Comments flooded every platform. We've known it for a long time. But today we hear it from you. Thank you, Jungkook. The question hung in the air. Is this the beginning of something bigger? Or will it be a golden memory stored neatly in the archives of time? We don't know. But today one truth has been born. Jungkook has chosen. And he chose Taehyung. Not just an answer, but a hug through words. A confession that can only be understood by a heart that has fallen in love secretly. Love that never spoken but always there. Since that day, time seemed to slow down. Clips of old moments haunted ARMY's homepages. Short videos that were once considered coincidences now felt like pieces of a love story that was never truly said. Everything started to connect. The way Taehyung looked at Jungkook from behind the stage, as if the world belonged to them. The way Jungkook looked for Taehyung as he stood in the crowd, like a compass that could not lose its direction. There was a deep silence in their relationship. But the silence was not empty. It was full of meaning. A secret language that could only be understood by 2 hearts that had walked side by side for too long. And now, with one sentence, Jungkook opened the door. Just a little. But enough to make everyone believe. Maybe all this time we were witnessing the most silent but most real love. I don't need to be perfect when I'm with him. These words were not just confessions. But it was like letting go of the burden Jungkook had been carrying as the golden magne, a perfect idol full of charm, always cheerful. But in front of Taehyung he didn't need to be anything. He was enough to be himself. Tired. Silent. Sincere. And Taehyung always understood. Like the nights when they just sat together without talking, listening to the rain. Or the mornings when the world hadn't woken up yet, but they were already sharing silence. They didn't need big words. They didn't need dramatic declarations. Their love lived in the little things. Is this the end or the beginning? The fans were torn between joy and fear. afraid that this would just be a rare moment, a golden moment that would be buried by management or denied with laughter another day. But they also knew this moment couldn't be erased. It couldn't be denied. Because it came out of Jungkook's own mouth. In front of the other members. In front of the world. And Taehyung didn't refuse. Didn't avoid. Didn't laugh. He accepted the sentence like someone who already knew the answer before the question was even asked. We don't need validation. But today we got it. That's what thousands of fans wrote. That they, who had been accused of hallucinating, now felt heard. They no longer walked in the darkness of theory. Now they walked in the light of recognition, no matter how small. And maybe that was enough. Because in the truest love, you don't always need a big confession. You just need one honest sentence. I choose him. What will happen next? Will Taehyung start to open up more? Or will this remain a sweet secret that we only keep in our hearts? We don't know. The world of K-pop is full of invisible boundaries and walls. But today we know one thing for sure. Love exists. And Jungkook has shown it. Not with a song. Not with lyrics. But with the courage to say one name. Taehyung. A love that never started but never ended. That night, the sky above Seoul felt different. There were no fireworks, no official announcement, but millions of hearts knew something had changed. On the phone screen, among the touching comments and the recordings that were played on repeat, there was a feeling that was hard to explain. Not just happy. Not just surprised. But like seeing a dream that had been denied for so long, finally standing before our eyes, real, calm, and not going anywhere. And maybe this is true love. A love that is not busy shouting I love you, but is present, growing, and faithfully staying in one place, in one name. Taehyung. One name, many meanings. In Jungkook's world full of spotlights and demands for perfection, Taehyung is a break. Is home. Is a place where he can be wrong, can be silent, can be fragile. And in Taehyung's silence, thousands of unspoken sentences are stored. That he also chooses. That he also knew from the start who was in her heart. No need for a dramatic hug. No need for a stage kiss. Because sometimes just a look is enough to shake the fandom world. And their look that night? It wasn't fan service. It was a confession. For you who believed from the start. For fans who have persisted for years with a belief that is often laughed at, today is proof. That love seen by the heart, not the eyes, is never wrong. That a relationship that seems too subtle to explain, too soft to define, doesn't mean it's not real. That's where the magic lies. Taehyung isn't just a love story between two idols. They are a reflection of love that doesn't always get the stage, but remains strong in silence. Love that doesn't need confession, but finally gets it. Is this the beginning of a new chapter? We don't know if they'll appear together more often, or keep their distance as usual, giving space for the mystery to live on. But one thing is for sure. That day, Jungkook placed a small stone in BTS history. A stone with one name written on it. Taehyung. And fans will remember it. Not because it was a gimmick. Not because it went viral. But because it was honest. Love in its quietest but most real form. Amidst the roar of concerts, the screams of fans, and the flashes of cameras, Taehyung's love lives in the quiet moments. In the small smiles backstage. In the brief hugs after practice. In the calls Tae and Kookie that sound ordinary but full of feeling. And that night, for the first time, Jungkook no longer hid who he was keeping in his heart. He chose. He confessed. He was honest. And for the millions of hearts that have been hoping in silence, that was more than enough. Because great love doesn't need celebration. It just takes a little courage to say, I choose you. And Jungkook has chosen Taehyung. If you believe that love doesn't always need a loud statement, then today you hear its most honest whisper. Taehyung is no longer a theory. They are poems that are finally read.